You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now present the Health Hub, hosted by Kathy Biasi.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Health Hub. I'm Kathy Biasi, your host, and along with our producer, Alex Diaz, we would like to welcome you to our show this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Kathy. How are you keeping?
I'm well. How are you keeping?
Not too bad. It's been a little bit of a crazy couple of weeks. We've had some issues at the studio from a technical point of view, but this morning I've come up with somewhat of a solution. But it was just, when you're so focused on resolving the issue, sometimes it's important to step back, get refreshed, and take a different approach at it, right? So fortunately today I feel a little bit more relaxed knowing that we have a solution in place with one of our technical issues that we've been having for the last couple of weeks.
You're gonna nail all this stuff down for home recording and home producing, and then the doors will be opened at the new studio. You have to start all over again.
Well, it's good to get the kinks out now before we have to move, because ideally once we move, we'd like to have everything up and running and set up in such a way that we won't have these issues that we're having currently. But
have you been moving? Has it already been happening, the move?
No, not yet. But there's reasons for that I can't necessarily get into at the moment.
Oh, which is fine. But we're thinking I just hope that we get back in studio. I do miss the environment of recording and live recording.
It does make a difference when you're sitting in the studio speaking to a live guest or live
when they're on the phone or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It does. So, it's like so many things, right? Like, what do you think of sports? I have to say I've had an evolution of just so many things, I guess, going through us. I actually thought sports would really be a big bust, but I have really enjoyed them. But I wonder if the athletes miss their fans.
I would think so. I mean, from what you hear, the athletes feed off the energy of the crowd, and obviously, as it's been with virtual fans, there's no sort of interaction with the players. So, in a sense, from a consumer point of view, from a fan point of view, I do miss going to the stadiums. I do miss that, but I'm fortunate, and we are all fortunate as fans to be able to watch these sports and still get some sort of entertainment from that.
Yeah. 100%. I remember when they were first starting to come back, and there was all these rumors of, I don't know who was talking about it. It was on the radio or whatever, talking about, they won't be allowed to hit. They won't be. And I thought, you know what? Hold off until it can be done back to normal, because I know, like you, sports is, I love sports. It's certainly not a relaxing thing for me. Sometimes I feel like, especially like with the basketball this year, I feel like it's after some of the games I've actually been to boot camp. So it's really not enjoyable. As I'm going through it, sometimes it really is stressful for me, but I really do. And I was.
It's a different stress, right?
Yeah, it's different stress. It's a stress that's not brought on by myself. Well, I guess I do bring it on myself, but I have to say I was so pleasantly surprised. But man, oh man, it must have been hard for the athletes to be in the bubble. I can't imagine, but I was really pleasantly surprised, and I'm so glad that we've had that throughout all this. So it was a lot of fun. I just wonder what your opinion was. Did you enjoy the sports, or was it lacking for some reason for you?
Well, I was so invested in the actual sport that it didn't really faze me too much.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching the events. Lately teams have been in playoffs, and there's been just myself focusing on the actual outcome rather than the
things that aren't there, that aren't happening.
Right. Yeah. And what's interesting, though, the way that broadcasters have transmitted the game with the mobile setups and things like that. That's really got to be a challenge for.
It must be
a challenge for them watching on a screen when they're used to seeing the whole
field in front of them.
Exactly. So kudos to them for pulling it off.
100%. One of the funniest ones, I think, was Buck Martinez. Of course, they're from home. And baseball, too, is a little bit, because the balls are flying all over. At least, the court, the basketball court, they're sort of contained.
Can only go so far, right?
They were saying, Buck Martinez, it was a hit into a corner. He goes, and it was hit. And I don't know if it's fair or foul. I'll just have to wait like you. And I thought, the poor guy. It must be so difficult. But you know what? I think everyone's just done, again, another feather in everyone's hat. I think it's just been great. But I have to say, I am so happy that sports have been back on. So it was, I guess we'll be, by the time this show is aired, it might be in a bit of a lull. And then sports, I don't even know when they'll start back up. But very happy to have had them. So I just kind of wanted your take on it.
Sure. Thank you.
Today's show is being taped, so no opportunity for calling in, but please do follow us on our social sites. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and do feel free to email us at thh@radiomaria.ca, and please do subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of them. We are the Health Hub. We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast platforms. And you can also find our podcast on the Radio Maria Canada website, which is radiomaria.ca, and on my website, which is kathybiase.com. So today's guest is Annelies Richmond, and Annelies spent 15 years in New York City as a professional ballerina and was astounded when she learned breathwork and meditation practices that brought her calm, confidence, and happiness in her high-pressured career. Inspired by this, Annelies has been teaching breathwork and meditation for 21 years now and has trained over 1,000 sky breath meditation teachers across the globe in her role as Director of Teacher Training for the Art of Living Foundation. She travels around the U.S. teaching breathwork, meditation, happiness, and leadership to college students, staff, and faculty, and is the director of Sky Campus Happiness Program at 58 universities. This is a terrific program that they have going on in the States at some of the campuses, and I really wanted to bring this forward to everybody because, as you know, a lot of kids are challenged, especially in the university college age group. It's very stressful for them, and we know from all the guests on our shows that the level of anxiety is increasing, the level of depression is increasing markedly in this age group. So this is a fantastic program initiative that Annelies has brought forward into the campuses. So I hope you stay stay here with us and listen to Annelies. It's a great thing that she's doing and really great for our young people. So everybody, we will be back in a few minutes to talk to Annelies.
I'm not about to give up because I heard you say there's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I won't stop, I'll keep my head up. No, I'm not here to stay. There's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I just might bend, but I won't break. As long as I can see your face. When I won't play along and right keeps going wrong and I can't seem to find my way. I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. long as I can see your face. When life won't play along and right keeps going wrong and I can't seem to find my way, I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. When life won't play along and right keeps going wrong and I can't seem to find my way, I know where I am found, so I won't let it drag me down. No, I'll keep dancing anyway. I gotta move, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna move.
You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now continue with the program, The Health Hub, hosted by Kathy Biasi.
Welcome back, everybody. As mentioned in the introduction, today's show is being taped, so no opportunity for calling in. But please do follow us on our social sites. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we are at the Health Hub RMC on all three spots. Annalies, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you are the first professional ballerina that we've had on the show. So, yes. So I don't know, like I'm so interested in learning about that. What did it take for you to become a professional ballerina? I mean, that is so, it's such a beautiful, beautiful art.
Yes. Yeah, it takes years and years of practice before, you enter into the professional world. So actually, I did it rather quickly. I started a little late at age 11. So I got my first professional contract when I was 18. So I trained for 7-8 years. But your training is like 6 days a week, 3-4 hours a day. It's pretty intense. It takes a lot of dedication. And you have to kind of circumvent the competition and just do it because you love it. And it takes a lot of discipline. Yeah. So I learned a lot. I feel like dance is good for everybody. You learn a lot of coordination, discipline, sensitivity, and your body gets strong.
Now, are you still dancing?
A little bit. I actually performed in February, right before the lockdown.
Wow.
For fun.
Wow.
Just fun.
That's amazing. And you were all over the United States, or were you're centered in New York?
Yeah, I was in New York at the Metropolitan Opera Ballet.
Beautiful. Very lovely. Excellent. Yeah. So how did you transition from on the stage, high intensity, stressful, into meditation? Or were they there to complement each other?
Yeah, so actually I was injured for a while and started looking at different ways, even just to heal myself. And when I got my job in New York City in the Metropolitan Opera Ballet, I had a neighbor who was passionately telling me to go take this class with the Art of Living. And I was like, what is this class? And he wouldn't really tell me anything about it. But he said, I know you love yoga, but this is much deeper. You should just try it, So I had been taking yoga maybe 4 days a week and physical yoga classes. I loved it. But there wasn't much meditation element. And when they did do 1 minute of it, I thought, okay, they're just scratching the surface. Like, there's much more to this. So I went to this course, this Art of Living course, and, started learning all these amazing breathing techniques. And then this meditation practice called Sky Breath Meditation. And I went so deep on the first session, and I was really blown away, like that you could go into that kind of state. And by the end of the course, it was 4 days long, or 4 sessions, the teacher tells you, okay, you practice this every day in the morning. This is now your breath work and meditation practice. And I was not a morning person, but I decided to give it a try. And I would get up every morning, make myself do it. And then until then, I had already been dancing professionally for about 8 years. And I still had so much stage anxiety. I disliked performing, which is so weird for a professional performer.
It really is.
Yeah, I loved the rehearsals. I was like, if I could just do rehearsals all day. But then when it came to the night performance, I would be so anxious for hours and I wouldn't really be able to eat. and nervous. And then you end up psyching yourself out, so you don't even perform as well. So after I practiced this, sky meditation for, I don't know, must have been 2 weeks or less. I just remember going onto stage one night and being completely relaxed and at ease. And I waited for the moment to leave the wings and get on the stage and go, and feel really nervous and, see all those people, 4,000 people or whatever. But it didn't come. The stress response didn't happen. I just felt very fluid. It was like, oh, like nothing, like I'm just on my couch at home, but I'm performing in front of like 4,000 people. And I didn't have the same anxiety or stress at all. And I was like, well, this is crazy. Like the only thing I changed is doing this, breathing and meditation practice. And I couldn't believe that it shifted something, that was such a difficult situation for me. It completely shifted it without me even intellectually trying to shift it. It just happened by me doing this practice. It's like the nervous system changed its stress response. And I was like, wow, I really have to learn to teach this to other people. Like this is the most valuable thing I've probably ever learned. So then I vowed I'll become a teacher, and I went to the teacher training, and that was it.
Is the intent of the program to relieve stress? Is that the intent of it?
Well, I would say the intent is bigger than that. Because actually I didn't take it because I was stressed. I was very happy with my life. I had my good career. I had a great apartment in New York City, But I would say the intent of the program that we've developed for universities is a higher sense of well-being and happiness, like that you are thriving in life. You're not just, I let go of some stress, or I feel better in this situation or that situation, but you're thriving, you're happy, you have tons of energy. You get to be able to do everything that you want to do because you have the energy and capacity to do it.
And this is all from the breath?
Yeah, I mean, that's the basis of it, I would say. I mean, the main practice that we teach, it's a very old practice. It's from the yoga tradition. It's the Sanskrit name is Sudarshan Kriya. So that's what SKY stands for, Sudarshan Kriya. And this is a very deep practice that uses breath work, but then it takes you into a deeper kind of meditative practice, rhythmic, that uses rhythmic breathing. And that, it's amazing how much it enhances your energy and capacity and the clarity of your mind. So I find people are just able to do a lot more in their life and a lot better. But in our courses, we teach it as a weekend retreat. We also combine it with a few other elements to enhance the effect. So we have a lot of social connection woven into our retreat, because we feel like you can't just teach someone to close their eyes and step away from life and feel good inside and then not be able to translate it into action. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you live in the world with other people, right? So it should make you more skillful with your interactions and your relationships. So we have a whole social connection piece that we do that people love, so that social connection and positive community is just as important to our well-being, you could say, as meditation. Mm-hmm. It's after food and water, it's the most basic human need, right? It's social connection. Mm-hmm. And then we also weave in some emotional intelligence training so that you kind of change your lens of how you're looking at your life so that you don't bring as much stress in the first place. The techniques are there to make you more resilient and happy and release any stress or imbalances in the system. But then we like to change people's lens, which is a little bit of positive psychology and emotional intelligence, so that when we view life in a different way, we don't take as much stress in the first place, because we start seeing things as challenges rather than problems.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the last element we weave in, especially for students, is some leadership and service. So we find that once people feel really good and they have a lot of energy, if you use some of it to help others, if you use some of that energy to make the world a better place or do whatever you want to do to help others, that also contributes so much to our mental well-being. And I think we need that right now on our planet. We need leaders that are very conscious and aware and have a lot of energy and have others' interest in mind. So we like to kind of build those leaders in our program.
So obviously with what's going on now, you've transitioned some of your practices, some of your courses online. So is this more of a sit in front of the computer guided program that if someone was wanting to dive into it after the show, that's the setup?
Yes, we used to do in-person, weekend retreats, which we just loved because that was so nice to do it in person. But we have transitioned it since March online on Zoom. It's all live instructor led and you're with a group on Zoom, and it's actually worked amazingly well. I've been shocked how well it's worked. Like the comments I get at the end of the weekend retreat is like, oh, I just love how you guys form positive community online, and I have to keep in touch with all these wonderful people.
It's amazing.
People really, really feel the sense of connection. And I feel like in order for anyone to thrive with a meditation practice, you need positive community around it because it keeps you in it. And you need people who have like a good influence on you. So yeah, we do it on Zoom. It's 3 hours a day for 3 days. But somehow the 3 hours fly by, and we do a little bit of physical yoga so that people aren't just sitting the whole time. But it's very fun and interactive, and somehow the breath work and meditation has translated really well online. We usually do some orientation so that people set up a nice space for themselves to do it, so they feel like they're getting like kind of a retreat setting. But otherwise, it's worked really, really well.
And is this something once the 9 hours is done, is there more in-depth programming, or is this, you've got your wings now and take what you've learned?
Yeah, there is more in-depth programming. So, I mean, we are a program, our Sky Campus Happiness program is a program of partnership between two foundations. One is Art of Living Foundation, and the other is International Association for Human Values. And through the Art of Living, there's all kinds of advanced programming. And my favorite program ever, which is what made me really decide to become a teacher of this, is the Silent Retreat. It's sometimes called Art of Silence or called Silent Retreat. And that's a second level. You can take a silent retreat even now online in the comfort of your own home. And those also work really well as long as your house is rather quiet, or you get your children, if you have children, to agree, you're doing the silent retreat.
That's the challenge right now, right, is to find that space. But, if it's worthwhile, we always figure a way how to do it. If you're sitting in your closet or something like that.
Yeah,
it's well
exactly.
worth it.
Exactly.
You figure it out. Just like we figured everything else out, we'll figure that out too.
Yeah.
Tell me about... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My very first silent retreat with the Art of Living was in Canada, and it's one of my favorite places ever. There's a delightful retreat center. It is about 2 hours north of Montreal. It's called the Art of Living Retreat Center, and they have... I don't know if they've opened up for in-person retreats yet, but it's a wonderful place to do a silence course. I think that it is artoflivingretreatcenter.org is their address, but that's a great place to go. And that was my first place. It's just gorgeous. It's amidst lakes, and the fall colors are gorgeous. So
well, now it'd be beautiful. We're right now, this show will be airing probably a month and a half out, but right now the colors are changing. The leaves are beautiful. But anytime you can go and just, and you know what, that might be just such a wonderful thing. It's just going and being quiet, especially we're inundated with people around us all the time at home. And it sounds like a wonderful practice to get started in and to really understand the value of meditation and breathing. We really need that now. Tell us about your founder of the Art of Living.
Oh, yeah. So our founder is Sri Ravi Shankar. SRI is Sri. So you can find him all over the web, Sri Ravi Shankar. He's amazing leader, and of course a yoga and meditation master from India, but he's also an incredible humanitarian. It does a lot of peace work across the globe, really. So when he started out 40 years ago, he was running around the planet, teaching Sudarshan Kriya and breath work to people, and with the aim of making a stress-free, violence-free society. That's one of the missions of Art of Living. And his other mission, personal mission, is he says he wants to put a smile on every face on the planet. Not a small mission.
Yeah, really.
But he's incredible to learn from. I mean, now he's made thousands of teachers across the globe. I think in Canada alone, we have about 300 teachers that teach the Art of Living courses and the happiness programs. But he now does a lot of peace work between countries. He helped negotiate the peace treaty in Colombia in the last few years between the FARC and the government. He was the one who went and spoke to the FARC and said, why don't we call a ceasefire? It took him 3 days to get them to that point, to call a ceasefire, and they agreed. There's a beautiful video of it online. But he's pretty incredible. His mission is bringing peace really across the planet. He does a lot of, he meets with terrorist groups, believe it or not. Like somehow they value him as kind of a neutral person, and they'll meet him. And he often is able to talk them out of fighting, like lay down your arms, why don't you have a different way, or let's follow the Gandhian principles of nonviolence. He has a lot of, I would say he has a lot of power to inspire people, and he often gets them to meditate, and then he can suggest these things and they're more agree to do it. So he's an incredible person. In many countries, he started a lot of service projects, even in India. I take college students to India, and they doing all these kind of programs to educate farmers, to go back to the natural ways of farming, because there's a lot of farmer suicide in India, and they have a lot of revitalization projects across all the poor areas to help bring people out of alcoholism. And so Art of Living has a huge amounts of service projects. We also have a program where we teach our classes in prisons. And in the US, we have a veterans program where we teach all of these things to veterans for free when they come back from war. So there's, I would say, a million service projects. That's why I love him as a teacher. He doesn't just say, do these practices. He also really implements it in the world. So he really walks the talk. Mm-hmm. So he's incredibly inspiring.
Now, would you say that his programs are meditation programs or breathing programs, or are they a melding of both?
I would say it's a melding of both. I mean, I would say that breath work is kind of on the up and up. People are starting to realize it's
100%. I agree.
Yeah, so it's like the thing now, right? And I do feel like a lot of people feel like meditation, I can't do it. I'm not a meditator. I'm not the type of person who can meditate. But I would tell all of you who think that I can't meditate. You just haven't tried the right technique yet. Because I've taught, these practices in all kinds of universities, but I also used to teach them like in detention centers in New York City. And the most hyperactive teenager would get calmed down by Sky, by Sudarshan Kriya. It was just incredible because the breath work goes right into your physiology and starts like bringing the calming response. If your system is in sympathetic mode, which is fight or flight, these breathing practices bring you directly into the parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest. So I would say you're using very specific breath work. It's not just any breath work. I don't want to claim like all breath work works like this, because I know that these practices are really specific and they've been put together in a very beautiful way. But all the breath work takes you into a deep state of meditation, but you don't have to put any effort to get there. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, get quiet, or come on thoughts, go away. In fact, you don't have to do any of that. You just do the breath work and then boom, you're in a very deep state of meditation. So I would say it's a melding of both. And even recently, there's this new New York Times bestseller. The whole book is about the breath.
James Nestor's book.
Yeah. And
James has been on the show, and he has, I'm not sure if it was on a particular show, but I was, or if I was just talking to someone and I said, breathwork is going to be the new thing. We've had fiber as the thing. We've had fat as the thing. But breathwork and the understanding of the value of the breath, to me, is just profound. And yes, it's funny that you brought him up because he was a fantastic guest and the book was just amazing. But you have such a unique program. A passion of mine is the mental health of our college and university students, which has been taking a hit. Statistically, it's showing us that it's been taking a hit, the mental health of this age group. And you've got a fantastic program that you've initiated in the States. I'm not sure if it's in Canada yet, but you've initiated this in the States. And after our break, I would like to really start talking about that because I think it's just a profound program that you've got in place. So everybody, we'll be back in a couple of minutes after our break.
Screaming, bare feet hit the floor. Yeah, it's off to the races. Everybody out the door. I'm feeling like I'm falling behind. It's a crazy life. 90 miles an hour, going fast as I can. Trying to push a little harder, trying to get the upper hand. So much to do in so little time. It's a crazy life. It's ready, set, go. It's another wild day when the stress is on the rise. In my heart I feel you say, just breathe, just breathe. Come and rest at my feet and be, just be. Chaos calls, but all you really need is to just breathe. Third cup of Joe just to get me through the day. Wanna make the most of time, but I feel it slip away. I wonder if there's something more to this crazy life. I'm busy, 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 and it's no surprise to see that I only have time for me, me, me. There's gotta be something more to this crazy life. I'm hanging on tight to another wild day when it starts to fall apart. In my heart I hear you say, just breathe, just breathe. Come and rest at my feet and be, just be. Chaos calls, but all you really need is to take it in, fill your lungs, the peace of God that overcomes. Just breathe. Let your weary spirit rest. Lay down what's good and find what's best. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Come and rest at my feet and be, just be. Chaos calls, but all you really need is to just breathe. Just breathe.
You are listening to The Health Hub here on Radio Maria Canada. A Catholic voice wherever you are. To contact us and be a part of the show, email thh@radiomaria.ca. We now continue with the program. Here once again is your host, Kathy Biasi.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here speaking with Annelies Richmond, and she has brought into, I think, 58 universities, it was in your bio, this wonderful program called Sky Campus Happiness Program. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, about 10 years ago, we started this program. We based it on the Art of Living's happiness program. They have a program for adults called Happiness Program. And, it was actually the founder of Art of Living, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He said, look at the state of universities. Don't you think something really specific is needed? Mm-hmm. I said, oh my gosh, you're right. Because I had been really inspired in the past to take this into high schools, but I realized university students need it so much, and they've just begun life on their own. And so we've been doing it for about 10 years, and we looked at all the different things that are evidence-based that bring well-being to people and also to young people. So we put in 4 elements that I kind of mentioned before. So we put in the breathwork and meditation, specifically the Sudarshan Kriya, or sky breath meditation. And what I'm seeing in universities is, I mean, this is a personal thing. I hope I don't offend anyone by saying this, but I feel like mindfulness is not really sticking for young people because they just don't want to just sit silently. Maybe it's a little boring for them, or it's a very long practice. So I find that the breath work, it's great for young people because they're doing something. It's like active, and then it puts them into a really deep state where then by then they're gone. They don't feel bored. They're like in a transcendental state of meditation. So we have that aspect, breathwork and meditation. And then the second aspect that we found is so needed in universities right now is social connection, creating positive community among young people. And it's just crazy. I used to travel before the pandemic to a different university every week. And I remember teaching one of our Sky Campus Happiness programs at MIT. And, we encourage them, like, go out, say hi to people. Sometimes we give them homework to go out and meet 3 people because everybody says how lonely they are. Nobody talks. Everybody walks around with their ear pods on campus. And they told me, oh, Annalise, there's even a walk on MIT campus that it's called the Hello Walk. Well, it's called the Hello Walk because you're supposed to say hello to people. They said even on the Hello Walk, nobody looks up or says hello. And I noticed that on all campuses. Most campuses, it's a very stressed out, competitive environment, and nobody has space in their mind to think about others, or people have trouble making friends. So we have put a lot of social connection and positive community building into programs, especially our weekend retreat. So they walk away with like really great like-minded friends that are going to be supportive. And then we put some emotional intelligence training, because that's really important right now to universities. I think that students develop emotional intelligence, and we want students to be able to look at their life from a bigger perspective so that they don't feel so stressed out, and they realize, oh, a little bit of failure is okay. Actually, it's like a ski jump, like it makes me go higher, or also that, they can have some compassion for others and think about things from other people's perspective.
Are you doing this as a retreat, or are you doing this as classes?
Yeah, so we weave in all these elements in our initial retreat, which is our 3 days, 3 hour, it's called Sky Happiness Retreat, So that's where they learn an evidence-based practice. By the end, they learn sky breath meditation. But yeah, we weave into that retreat, we weave in social connection, lots of bonding and connecting exercises, some exercises that have their own research behind them, just by their pure merit of being connection exercises. And then we weave in emotional intelligence and a little bit of service leadership. Now that it's online, we do a little bit of leadership on the online ones. But we do have more advanced programs in our Sky Campus Happiness. We have a leadership training where students actually, if they dive into it enough and they start practicing every day, then they can come to the leadership training and learn how to facilitate meditation for others. So we believe a lot in peer-to-peer learning. We actually find that when the programs, like when students recommend the programs, many students come, and it's a little bit trickier sometimes for the administration to recommend programs. If it's a combination of administration and students, that works the best. So we find the peer-to-peer learning is really important. So yeah, we have a leadership training where students learn how to lead a workshop, like a 1-hour workshop on their own of breath and meditation and a little bit of social connection. And those students usually form clubs. So we have Sky clubs at our 58 campuses in the US. And we actually have Sky clubs in University of Toronto.
Oh.
And McMaster University and University of
Guelph, yep.
Yeah. So those have been started in Canada. We have some like lovely teachers that are doing that there who are really fun. And all of our teachers who teach Sky Campus are really like fun loving. I don't know. They're just wonderful facilitators. They like to have fun. They like to bring out. I feel like a lot of our university students are missing the fun element in life. Mm-hmm. So we always train our teachers to, make them have some fun while they learn to meditate.
And I have two questions for you. Let's do this one first. How do you feel this has positively translated into their university lives? Are they getting better marks? Is that the point of it? Are they just more at ease with the new life?
Yeah, both, I would say. One of my students she actually became a teacher of it. So she took this in her second year of university, and she was failing out of a couple of classes. And after taking our Sky Happiness retreat, within one semester, she had all A's and B's. Like, she was thriving. She just needed a practice to ground her and relieve her of anxiety. And that because she was a smart, intelligent person, she just needed, the anxiety was like overwhelming her and making her mind not function in the best way, But one of my, I have a lot of stories, I guess. One of my students at MIT, he was, these high achieving universities are such high achievers. Sometimes they're over perfectionists. Mm-hmm. So when I first met him, he would literally take all night to write a draft of an email. And he would be like, can you look up my email? And I was like, oh, this is not efficient. How is he keeping up at MIT? So he took our course. He actually became a student leader and started the Sky Club there. And he really thrived with it. He ended up, he started doing the practice. He was like, Annalies, I'm stopping being obsessively perfectionist. Now I get so much more work done and my lab work is going better. He ended up starting his own startup. In the middle of his PhD, he also started a startup, and he got into Forbes 30 under 30. He was highlighted there. Yeah, his name's Kishore Nair. So he was like, Annalies, this is all because of my practice and all the work I've been doing with Sky, because I've learned so much and I've learned to balance my life. And so I find it really helps them thrive. And then, recently we've been teaching at Yale the past few years, and I had a student there who had tried committing suicide 3 times by the time he ended up in our retreat. And I'm just bringing this up because suicide and suicidal tendencies are such a huge problem right now. And they've doubled since about 2012. The suicidal tendencies in our young people have doubled, which is really scary. And he had attempted 3 times, and he had dropped out of Yale twice to take a break because he just couldn't handle it. And he came to our retreat, and he actually had such a bad stutter. He had a hard time talking in the retreat. But when he shared at the end, he stuttered so much less. I was like, oh my God, like these practices are like amazing. And then he took the retreat 3 or 4 times in a row. He's like, oh, this is helping me so much. He kept doing it over and over and over until he started practicing every day. And he took some of our more advanced programs like the silent retreat. And that was it. Then he finished his last 2 years at Yale without taking a break. He said he didn't have suicidal thoughts anymore. Like, he felt like his energy and confidence had come up so much with all the breathwork practices. Mm-hmm. And he went on to take our leadership training, and now he has a Fulbright scholarship. So he was always very intelligent, but the fact that he could come out of his suicidal tendencies, I mean, for me, that was just huge.
Of course it is. Do you find, Annalies, do you have some people, I think, might be intimidated by the word retreat or group settings. Are there any type of initiation programs or classes that people can dip their toe into to see if they want a full-blown retreat?
Oh, yes, there are. I would say we do like hour-long sessions that people can jump into and see what it's like. So we have a program that's like an hour long where they come and do like a mind and meditation session or get a taste of the breath work. And those are all over. I would say in Canada, they would be through Art of Living, artofliving.org. We have a lot of teachers who run those. And in US, we run them through our Sky Campus Happiness. But yeah, you're right. Some people just want to try it first. A lot of people want to try it. Yeah.
Well, it's so new, right? I mean, a lot of kids may never have even thought about breath, or they may think it's like too out there for them. And it really, when you would think about it, our breath is what sustains our living. And so to do it well, to do it efficiently is something that we just don't even think about. And it's to me, the way that you are working these programs to help people connect to their breath, it's fundamental. In my estimation, it's fundamental. Have there ever been any studies done, with your program? I don't even know where they would be directed, but have you ever had someone come and study, maybe before and after with students anywhere?
Yeah. That's actually what we just completed a study last year at Yale University. And it was a really nice study. They evaluated 3 well-being programs, because I'm sure you see that all of our universities in North America, it's like, I think well-being and mental health is becoming the foremost thing. I'm having deans tell me that they're putting mental health this year ahead of academics. And I'm like, wow, it's become such an urgency. So Yale looked at that last year and they evaluated 3 programs, our Sky Campus Happiness, and they put a group into MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is probably the oldest form of mindfulness. And the 3rd program was Yale's own emotional intelligence program. And then a 4th group was a control group. So it was a really nicely done study with a control group. And I was very surprised by the results, and so were the researchers, because mindfulness has so much legacy and research behind it. But the interesting thing is the program that came out least impactful was mindfulness. It didn't have any significant results for the well-being measures that they were measuring in the students. And then I asked the researchers, well, why was that? And they're like, well, actually, the research on mindfulness is very mixed if you look at the whole history. So we're like, okay. And then the emotional intelligence program statistically increased mindfulness in the students. So the result of the emotional intelligence program was increased mindfulness or awareness, present moment awareness. And then our program had 6 significant results. It was mind-blowing to me how it came out. It significantly reduced stress and depression for students, and it significantly increased mental health. It increased the sense of mindfulness, and then it increased positive emotion. Can't we all use more of that nowadays? Absolutely. And it also increased the sense of social connectedness. So just by doing the program, they felt more socially connected. And, I also heard that qualitatively from the students. They would say, I used to feel like I don't belong on Yale. I'm an imposter and everybody's unfriendly. But now I feel like, I could just talk to anyone. So somehow the program let their guard down and made them realize they can connect with other people.
That truly is amazing. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, or if people want to investigate more, because obviously there are universities that lots of universities and colleges that aren't aren't holding the Sky Campus Happiness programs. Is there any way that a student can become involved, or, just in general, if someone is listening to this and they'd like to delve further, where is the best resource for everyone to look?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is skycampushappiness.org, and you can contact us through our website. Our people answer really fast. So it's skycampushappiness.org, and students can write in, and we get a lot of inquiries from universities through our website. I think that's the best way, at skycampushappiness.org. We also have the studies listed in our research section. If anyone wanted to look up the Yale study, or there was an equivalent University of Arizona and Harvard study on there too that also measured how it helps sleep, which a lot of people need. So
exactly. Especially at university. And then for people that are not at university, for adults who might want to delve into this, it's theartofliving.org that we can go to. So we have theartofliving.org and skycampushappiness.org.
Yeah,
I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I do believe so much in the practice that you are teaching people. So I want to thank you for joining us today. It's been a great show.
Thank you, Kathy, for having me. It's been lovely connecting with you.
Thank you. Thank you. And everybody, as you know, when the podcast comes up, all the information, if you want to reach out to Annalies or learn more about the Sky Campus Happiness Program or Art of Living, everything will be there for you. So thank you for joining us today, and everybody, we'll talk to you next week on The Health Hub.
You have been listening to The Health Hub, hosted by